How does it feel?
Actually, it's nice.
Have you ever grown tired of the same old dishes? How about silkworms instead of a sandwich or soup made from snake meat? China offers a gastronomic adventure with its vast history and diverse landscape, continually redefining taste and tradition. What may seem weird to an outsider is a delicacy for another. Join us as we show you the 20 weirdest foods in China. Number 20. Deep-fried spiders. Spiders may strike fear and revulsion in many, but across China, these creepy crawlies are crunchy, craveable street food fare. From silk-weaving hubs like Hangzhou to tropical Guangxi province, spiders join other insects like cicadas and crickets as pedestrian but protein-packed snacks. Fully intact fried spiders are most common in Guangxi and Guangdong in South China. The large arachnids are lightly battered and then deep-fried, emerging with crispy bodies and legs that can be munched whole. The fried exterior gives way to a soft, pillowy interior with delicate meat. Brave foodies nibble their legs first, working their way to the main body. The taste is mild, even slightly sweet. In eastern Shandong and Zhejiang provinces, smaller spiders are simply sautéed with salt and Sichuan peppercorn. Their springy texture stands out here, especially when eaten whole and chased with a cold beer. The legs contain little flesh, but the abdomen offers an intense flavor for those keen on tapping every morsel. Beyond novelty, spiders and insects at large offer ample nutrition, high in protein, vitamins, and minerals. Generations of Chinese have naturally incorporated them into their diet as readily available sources of sustenance. And so spiders continue crawling their way into street food stalls today, representing local pride and a spirit of gastronomic adventure. Those brave enough to bite in may just get hooked. Number 19. Sea cucumbers. These squishy spiral creatures of the deep may not win any beauty pageants, but China can't get enough of sea cucumbers. They have been prized for centuries as both delicacy and traditional medicine. Known as hai shen in Chinese and harvested across the South China Sea, they hold a higher place in Chinese culture than in their rocky underwater homes. So what accounts for the sea cucumber's prestigious reputation? For one, their rarity and exoticism enhanced their status as imperial cuisine centuries ago. The creatures must be meticulously processed, dried, boiled, and rehydrated to be edible. This labor-intensive preparation contributed to their cachet. Texture also plays a role. Sea cucumbers contain a unique compound called fucosylated glycoprotein that gives them their prized, bouncy, almost crunchy texture when rehydrated and cooked. This jelly-like crispness cemented them as a Chinese culinary marvel. Beyond taste and scarcity, sea cucumbers are revered for purported healing properties. Traditional Chinese medicine hails them as a curative tonic, able to treat joint pain, enhance immunity, and solidify kidney essence. Sea cucumber contains compounds like saponins, polysaccharides, and chondroitin sulfate that may have anti-inflammatory effects according to studies. However, more research is needed to substantiate TCM claims. Regardless of whether the health benefits prove true, the sea cucumber's prestige persists. This humble marine invertebrate demonstrates the Chinese genius for transforming the ordinary into the exotic. Number 18. Century eggs. With their unique mottled shells, century eggs seem to offer a literal taste of history. These preserved eggs are a famous Chinese specialty, prized for their unique appearance and powerful flavor. Duck, quail, or chicken eggs are packed in a clay mixture containing salt, ash, and quicklime. This alkaline blend transforms the eggs over weeks or months. The whites turn dark brown and translucent with a jelly-like texture. The rich greenish yolk becomes creamy and pungent. Century eggs can shock the uninitiated with their distinct aroma and flavor. Some consider them a supreme delicacy, while others liken them to smelly cheese. Fans prize their rich, earthy taste and silky texture contrast of yolk and white. The eggs can be eaten plain, added to congee porridge or rice, or chopped into dishes. Though dubbed century eggs, the name refers to their antiquated appearance rather than actual age. Eggs cured much longer than a few months risk spoiling. While their unusual pre-processing may deter some diners, century eggs remain an iconic Chinese specialty, encapsulating the transformative power of food preservation and fermentation. Their unique timeline in a shell preserved the past for the present. Number 17. Fried centipedes. In China, creepy crawlies aren't just pests, they're protein-packed snacks. Giant centipedes occasionally end up on the menu, fried on skewers, or dried into medicinal tonics. They show how Chinese cuisine celebrates the edible potential even in insects. Fried centipede skewers are most common as a novelty street food. They are run through with sticks, seasoned, and then deep fried, resulting in an extra crispy and crunchy exterior. The flavor is subtle, but centipedes offer a highly satisfying texture, especially when consumed whole. Their many delicate legs turn deliciously brittle. Centipedes and other bugs like cicadas have also been used in traditional Chinese medicine for centuries. A dried centipede is believed to have healing properties, able to treat conditions from tetanus to convulsions. However, centipede toxins can also have adverse health effects if consumed regularly. Regardless of medicinal value, chowing down on crunchy critters shows the spirit of culinary adventure in China. For the daring foodie, centipedes represent a chance to expand one's horizons, even if that means replacing chickens with creepy crawlies. Their popularity proves that with enough creativity, even scuttling pests can become prized edible commodities. Number 16. Shark fin soup. Once the epitome of fine dining across China, shark fin soup is now mired in controversy. For centuries, this luxurious soup made from shark fins typified Chinese culinary indulgence. It was traditionally served at banquets and weddings to honor esteemed guests. The soup dates to China's Ming Dynasty, and its popularity soared when it appeared at a state dinner for the visiting Queen of England in 1961. The prestige of shark fin soup stems not from flavor, but texture. Shark fins are almost tasteless on their own, but when simmered into a chicken broth, their collagen-rich strands provide body and a chewy, gelatinous quality highly prized in Chinese cooking. Since flavor comes mainly from the chicken stock, the rarer the fin, the more prestige the soup carries. Scarcity equaled luxury. However, the demand for shark fins led to catastrophic shark population declines worldwide. Tens of millions of sharks are killed just for their fins each year through the brutal practice of finning. With 1/3 of open ocean sharks now threatened with extinction, attitudes are changing. There is growing recognition that maintaining culinary traditions like shark fin soup is not worth driving sharks to collapse. Though still served today, shark fin soup is now highly controversial. China's government has discouraged serving it at official functions. Some youth are rejecting it as backward and environmentally destructive. A cultural shift seems underway. However, with its long pedigree, shark fin soup will not disappear overnight. This prized soup will likely continue creating tensions between culinary tradition and ecological sustainability for years to come. Number 15. Bats and bamboo rats. While controversial today, bats and bamboo rats have been prized in southern China for centuries as food and medicine. These forest-dwelling creatures were once ecologically and culturally important in regions like Guangxi and Guangdong. Bats have an ancient pedigree in traditional Chinese medicine, used to treat ailments from malaria to kidney disease. Bat soup is considered a warming tonic that boosts well-being. Bamboo rats are also reputed to have medicinal qualities, able to remedy asthma and impotence. Though scientific evidence is scant, these traditional beliefs endowed bats and bamboo rats with prestige. Beyond folk remedies, both provided handy sources of protein from China's lush subtropical forests. Bamboo rats live communally in extensive burrows, making trapping them easier. Bats too roost in large colonies in caves. These creatures were abundant and accessible sources of sustenance in the biodiverse southern forests. Serving bats and bamboo rats also carries cultural resonance. These regional specialties represent pride in local natural bounty. Bats may be stewed with aromatic herbs and spices into hearty curries. Bamboo rat meat is tender with an earthy flavor and is often roasted, boiled in soup stock, or dried into jerky. However, wild populations are diminishing, making their consumption controversial today. Habitat loss and overhunting now threaten bat and bamboo rat numbers. The days of casually eating pest species like bats and rats are waning in modernizing China. Number 14. Seahorse. Seahorses have graced Chinese apothecaries for centuries, but nowadays these magical marine creatures are more likely to end up on dinner plates. China accounts for up to 95% of global seahorse consumption.
This is real one. It's a seahorse. I've never been touched before.
Dried seahorses are the most common. They are eaten as a street snack, with a texture described as crispy and almost potato chip-like in crunch factor. Seahorse skewers are also popular fare. Beyond novelty, seahorses are valued for their purported medicinal benefits, especially for disorders like erectile dysfunction. Records of seahorses in Chinese medicine date back to the 1500 Ming dynasty. Early Chinese healers believed seahorses could treat afflictions from asthma to infertility. Seahorse remains a licensed pharmaceutical ingredient today. However, wild populations are rapidly declining due to heavy fishing pressures. Most overseas seahorse trade leads back to China. As coastal habitats degrade, these whimsical creatures have become highly endangered. While still consumed for traditional health benefits, seahorse significance today extends beyond the medicinal. These gentle mythic creatures represent the delicate balance between culinary customs and conservation, and the need to protect vanishing marine life. Number 13. Silkworms and scorpions. Silkworms and scorpions may seem like bizarre foods to many outsiders, but they have been part of Chinese cuisine for thousands of years. Archaeological evidence shows that ancient Chinese were eating silkworm pupae as early as 5,000 years ago during the Neolithic period. Silk thread, but also as a source of protein when crops were scarce. The pupae were roasted or boiled as a tasty, nutritious snack.
How does it feel?
It's nice.
Scorpions also have a long history in China as both food and medicine, dating back over 2,000 years. Chinese traditional medicine texts from the Han Dynasty recommend scorpions for treating numbness, tumors, and skin inflammation. Reflecting this medicinal lore, scorpions are believed to have anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer effects. Scorpions likely became a food source out of practicality too, as a readily available source of animal protein in harsh environments. Nowadays, both silkworm pupae and scorpions can be found sold as classic street snacks across China. The silkworms are usually seasoned with spices, and then fried or roasted on skewers for a crispy outside and a savory, creamy interior. Scorpions are fried or skewered, then grilled, turning their shells crunchy and the insides tender. While eating bugs may turn some stomachs in Western cultures, they are cherished, nostalgic snacks in many parts of China. Beyond taste, they represent history, resilience, and connection to the land. Their consumption echoes how ancient Chinese made use of every available food source, and their medicinal roles link back to ancient holistic healing practices. Though exotic to outsiders, for many Chinese, crunching on crispy scorpions is like revisiting childhood treats. These creepy crawlies show how even the most unlikely of ingredients can be elevated into tasty traditional delicacies. Number 12. Bird's nest soup. Rising to become one of China's most prized delicacies, the bird's nest soup displays the lavish heights Chinese cuisine can reach.
Super expensive. It is bird's nest soup.
Its main ingredient, the nest of cave-dwelling swiftlets, was once reserved only for Chinese royalty. Painstakingly constructed from the swiftlets' glutinous saliva, these tiny nests are harvested from precarious sea-swept cliffs and caves across Southeast Asia. Traders risk life and limb to collect just a few grams of the scarce nests. For centuries, possession of these nests was limited to the upper echelons of Chinese society. The nests were believed to confer longevity, boost qi energy, and enhance complexion when stewed into a nourishing soup.
Silky and smooth, really mild, but it's so delicious. It's like eating dessert.
Emperors hoping to extend their reigns coveted this exotic elixir. Beyond purported health benefits, bird's nest soup also displays the Chinese genius for elevating basic ingredients. Out of a humble swiftlet spit, Chinese chefs crafted a dish fit for kings. The nest's delicately sweet flavor emerges when simmered for hours into a savory chicken broth with premium ingredients like Chinese ham and ginseng. As the nests soften, they form gelatinous strands in the bowl, giving a smooth, almost creamy mouthfeel. Today, bird's nest soup remains an extravagant dish displaying wealth and privilege. At up to $3,000 per pound, these swallow nests are the caviar of Chinese cuisine. Their sky-high cost stems not just from the perilous harvesting methods or limited supply, but their enduring status as a luxe health tonic. But beyond conspicuous consumption, they represent centuries of culinary refinement, a quest to create sublime flavors from nature's humble gifts. Number 11. Duck tongues. Chinese cuisine has a well-earned reputation for weird and wonderful ingredients. Just imagine eating duck tongues. These bony, fleshy slivers of the duck mouth have delighted Chinese foodies for generations. They represent how Chinese gastronomy revels in both pushing boundaries and unearthing hidden gems.
Some of the detail of the duck tongue, nice sauce. And this went straight from the duck's mouth?
Often marinated in a mix of soy sauce, rice wine vinegar, sesame oil, and spices, the pale duck tongues are deep fried until the exterior becomes crispy and the interior remains soft and tender. Their preparation showcases the Chinese genius for counterpoint, with the interplay of textures enlivening the experience. Beyond texture, duck tongues also offer layered, delicate flavors.
When I had the duck tongue from the duck head, it was very tender.
Connoisseurs describe the taste as light and mildly gamey, with savory, almost nutty notes. It's a subtle but satisfying mouthful, if you don't choke on the tiny bones. That mix of subtle flavors and hazardously small bones encapsulates the joy and risk of culinary exploration. Navigating those bones to savor the morsels requires concentration and daring, offering a sense of achievement with each bite. Like navigating the bones, discovering new tastes expands the palate. For the culinarily courageous, duck tongues open new horizons. They represent centuries of Chinese innovation seeking delight in surprising places. Though once rare, now duck tongues have proliferated across China, showing how niche tastes can emerge into the mainstream given enough daring. Number 10. Stinky tofu. In the bustling lanes of major Chinese cities, one scent above all may assault your nostrils: the eye-watering reek of stinky tofu.
Stinky tofu. Here goes.
This pungent street snack is a classic example of outsized Chinese flavors. Its odor screams offense, but its taste seduces. Stinky tofu begins as regular fresh tofu, made by coagulating soy milk and pressing it into blocks. The stink comes later when the tofu ferments for months in a brine of milk, vegetables, and herbs. Microbes break down the proteins and fats, releasing powerfully scented compounds found in cheeses like gorgonzola too. This stinky transformation yields a tofu with a smooth, custardy interior encased in a crispy fried exterior when cooked. Despite the stench, stinky tofu offers pleasant, mild flavors. The brining gives it deep, savory umami tones, while frying imparts a hint of nuttiness. Dipped in sweet chili sauce, it captivates taste buds. The Chinese have long celebrated strong smells and flavors. Heightening the senses excites the spirit. Beyond flavor, stinky tofu also represents local pride. The snack originated in culinary capitals like Chengdu, where locals flock to famous stinky tofu stalls for a nostalgic taste of home. Fans wax poetic about the dish's mouth-watering paradox. It shows how Chinese street food offers not just sustenance but experience. Even the air thick with its perfume animates the senses. For many, braving the stink is worth it. Number 9. Sea urchin roe with steamed egg. In China's coastal regions, roe from spiny sea urchins becomes a unique culinary treasure. The saltiness of the ocean mingling with the comfort of steamed eggs. This pairing showcases the Chinese knack for blending land and sea. Sea urchin roe has long been a delicacy across coastal China, Japan, and Korea, scooped fresh from cracked open urchin shells. The salty, mineral undertones of these tiny orbs pair perfectly with the egg's rich creaminess when gently steamed together in the emptied urchin shell. Chopped scallions added on top cut through the opulence with a light allium bite. The specialty hails from regions like Fujian and Guangdong provinces, where sea urchin is abundant. Locals believe the dish carries health benefits too, purportedly boosting metabolism and virility. For many Chinese living far from their coastal hometowns, this seaside treat conjures nostalgia. The combination encapsulates the contrast of textures and flavors. Briny marine roe, cocooned in savory egg custard, that characterizes Chinese cuisine. Beyond taste, the dish also reflects the ingenuity of Chinese chefs seeking to celebrate local ingredients. Sea urchins are foraged from tide pools or harvested by divers plunging into the depths. Risky but rewarding work. Transforming spiny shells hiding creamy treasure into sublime cuisine does justice to the ocean's strange bounty. Number 8. Jellyfish salad. With a curled shape and wispy tentacles, jellyfish resemble something out of a science fiction film. But in China, they're transformed into a supremely crunchy salad. Strips of jellied tentacles seasoned with vinegar, soy sauce, and sesame provide a unique texture that's caught on abroad too. Jellyfish have been part of Chinese coastal cuisine for centuries. They were originally a bycatch, collateral damage from fishermen's nets, but their mild flavor and addictive crunch soon made them a sought-after ingredient. Once peeled, processed, and marinated, they retain an irresistible crispness even when cooked. Beyond their versatility, jellyfish are also nutritious despite being 95% water. They're low-calorie but high in collagen, a protein that may have anti-aging benefits. Some claim jellyfish salad provides glowing skin. They also reproduce in massive swarms, so consuming them prevents overpopulation. Given concerns over overfishing, many argue eating prolific jellyfish is the ultimate sustainable seafood. This marine curiosity highlights Chinese innovation, transforming cast-off catch into a culinary star. Crunching on these nomadic drifters of the sea is not just satisfying, but surprisingly eco-friendly. Number 7. Snake soup. While a hot bowl of snake meat stew seems unthinkable to some, it's been cherished for centuries as a nourishing tonic. Snake soup contains up to 5 types of snake and is revered in Cantonese cuisine. The soup dates to the Qing dynasty when it was considered an extravagant dish worthy of royalty. Snake meat was believed to boost qi energy and blood circulation when stewed with aromatic Chinese herbs. Each ingredient in the complex soup has a purpose: ginseng for vitality and chrysanthemum to reduce inflammation. The broth takes hours to perfectly meld flavors. Snake meat is compared to a mix of fish and chicken, tender with a delicate bounce. The bones are edible too when properly prepared. Dried snake meat can also be found in some herb shops, promising longevity and virility. While medical claims are questionable, the dish carries undeniable cultural resonance. Yet classic snake restaurants are now rare as new generations reject reptilian fare. Concerns over unsustainable wild harvesting also impact availability. Regardless, snake soup remains a point of pride and a symbolic dish in Cantonese culture. Celebratory meat representing the exotic reaches of Chinese cuisine and its quest for tantalizing new frontiers. Number 6. Fried cicadas. When summer arrives in China, it brings swarms of buzzing cicadas and hungry diners ready to fry them up by the fistful. For many Chinese, munching these crunchy insects is as routine as eating popcorn at the movies. Fried cicadas are skewered, battered in cornstarch and spices, and then deep-fried, transforming them into finger-licking bar snacks with a delicate savory flavor under their crispy shell. Their texture contrasts crispy exterior and a soft, almost buttery interior. Cicadas offer a high protein kick, about 13 grams per 100 gram serving, more than beef. Bug eating has always been part of Chinese food culture, long before it became a sustainability fad in the West. Ancient texts, like the Shanhai Jing, document people eating cicadas and locusts as early as the Han Dynasty. Cicadas were historically enjoyed not just for taste, but for their summery, symbolic presence. Their buzzing song represents renewal and joy. Nowadays, cicadas face habitat loss, so gobbling them up prevents overpopulation while making use of a nutritious regional food source. Much like crispy crickets and silkworm larvae, fried cicadas showcase how even the most humble ingredients can become coveted seasonal treats in the hands of China's resourceful chefs and street hawkers. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. The dog is man's best friend, but some people in China also know what this man's best friend actually tastes like. In China, dog meat is eaten in some regions and is considered a delicacy, especially in the winter when it is thought to heighten body temperature and promote warmth. Places where dog meat is most commonly consumed include Guangdong, Yunnan, Guangxi, and northern provinces. Supposedly, dog meat promotes a healthy liver and has other health benefits according to folk medicine beliefs. It is estimated that every year in China, 10 million dogs are slaughtered to be eaten for such medicinal and culinary purposes. Yulin in Guangxi is especially famous for its annual dog meat festival. During the 10-day festival, around 10,000 dogs are slaughtered for their meat. What are your views on dog meat in Chinese cuisine? Let us know in the comments. Number 5. Pigeon on a stick. Stroll down a busy street in northern China and you may encounter pigeons roasting away, skewered whole and fragrant over open flames. In cities like Beijing and Shanghai, tiny grilled or fried pigeons are a classic snack. the perfect beer accompaniment. References to cooking pigeons date as far back as the Han Dynasty in ancient texts like the Book of Songs. Their petite size made them an ideal street food. Vendors skewer them, rub them with aromatic spices, and grill them over charcoal, allowing their skin to become crispy while keeping the meat tender. A dash of pepper and cumin adds a kick. Pigeons can also be chopped and cooked into dishes like congee porridge or pigeon pie. Beyond their delicate meat, pigeons held cultural symbolism, representing peace and fidelity in Chinese lore. Serving them at ceremonies like weddings conferred luck. While duck and chicken now dominate, humble pigeons were once among the most prized fowl, associated with prosperity and happiness. Even as meats go upscale, the nostalgic taste of tiny streetwise pigeons keeps this bygone era alive. Number 4. Pig brain. A steaming bowl of pork brain soup may not suit all tastes, but in China, creamy chunks of pig brain have been prized for centuries. This controversial ingredient adds a rich, fatty flavor to hot pots. References to pork brain in Chinese texts date back over 2,000 years to the Han Dynasty. Brain soup was traditionally believed to boost intelligence, memory, and cognition. It remains a specialty of culinary destinations like Chengdu, where spicy hot pot broth showcases the brain's almost custard-like texture. When carefully prepared, pig brain has a soft, melt-in-the-mouth quality and subtle, creamy taste, almost like tofu. Some compare it to bone marrow. It takes on the flavors of the hot pot broth, acting as a savory sponge. More prized portions come from the brain stem, which offers a firmer texture and more decadent flavor. However, concerns over the brain's high cholesterol and potential neurological diseases have diminished its popularity. Consumption is discouraged in places, though it remains a nostalgic ingredient for many. For the culinarily daring, it represents a singular experience, the chance to expand one's palate in pursuit of new textures and flavors. Number 3. Gutter oil. In China, not all cooking oil comes straight from the grocery aisle. A significant amount is recycled from restaurant fryers, grease traps, sewers, and even slaughterhouse waste, then resold to unsuspecting vendors. This dangerous phenomenon is known as gutter oil. Gutter oil processing remains highly illegal in China, but weak enforcement has allowed it to spread. Unscrupulous collectors siphon discarded grease, filter it, and repackage it as cheap cooking oil. In 2010, estimates suggested 10% of Chinese cooking oil was gutter oil. Schools, street stalls, and small restaurants are common buyers. The undisclosed recycled oil poses major health risks. Traces of carcinogens like polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons commonly show up in tests. In 2011, consumers were horrified when an investigation revealed lean pork being produced by dissolving rotten meat in gutter oil. Authorities make occasional busts of gutter oil operations, but often laboratories simply remix it into lower grades of oil. The profit incentives remain high, while regulation is difficult with so many small facilities. For Chinese diners, gutter oil remains an unappetizing example of food supply contamination, even amidst modernization. Number 2. Cat meat. Cat meat may be taboo in much of the world, but in some regions of China, feline cuisine has persevered for centuries despite the stigma. Guangdong and Guangxi provinces in particular consume around 4 million cats annually, according to some estimates. Cat meat is especially favored during colder months, believed to provide warming yang energy. Stews and hot pots allow its flavor to permeate into broths and vegetables. However, eating cats contradicts Buddhist prohibitions, so butchers often mislabel it deceptively as rabbit or goat meat. Consuming cats grew more controversial as they became popular pets in modern China. Younger generations show less appetite for cat meat, associating it with poverty and traditional backwardness. The government has also passed stronger animal protection laws, yet cat meat dishes still appear in rural restaurants or local markets, where folk beliefs in their benefits persist. For older Chinese with limited food options, cat meat stews remain nostalgic winter fare. While the dish's popularity diminishes with cultural shifts, for some it stays tied to regional identity, and generations of ancestral food customs are not easily erased. Number 1. Giant clams. In Chinese markets, giant clams are a true aquatic spectacle, some specimens weighing over 200 pounds. But beware of the splash zone when cooking these hefty bivalves. They live up to their name in more ways than one. The giant clam owes its heft to a large muscle that keeps its shell tightly sealed, a defense vital for survival. This same muscle makes preparing raw clams risky. When the shell is cracked open after death, the muscle may spasm suddenly, ejecting a stream of water at spectators. Sashimi from small clams may be safe, but Chinese chefs often opt to slice and cook larger specimens to avoid unwelcome baths. When stewed or stir-fried, the meat becomes succulently tender, offering a delicately sweet, oceanic flavor. Their edible, vividly hued mantle also provides a visual feast. Beyond their impressive proportions, giant clams were once abundant across Asia-Pacific reef habitats, before overharvesting diminished populations. Their future remains uncertain, but these marine marvels still represent an unforgettable intersection of culinary delight and ecological wonder for the Chinese palate. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.